Welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for joining me for this week's explainer on the global polycarbonate market. We are digging into the data for the first week of July 2026, and wow, we've got quite a bit to unpack today. Whether you're buying, selling, or just analyzing the industry, staying on top of these global supply and demand shifts is absolutely crucial for your bottom line. So let's jump right in and see exactly what the market is up to right now. But real quick, before we hit the numbers, I want to give credit where credit is due. All the pricing data, the numbers, and the strategic insights we're covering in this explainer come straight from Polymer Bazaar. They're really the go-to source for the absolute latest in polymer and petrochemical news, and honestly, having a rigorous, data-driven foundation like theirs is exactly how we're able to cut through the noise and show you what's actually happening out there in the real world. All right, so here is the overarching theme for the week. Global polycarbonate markets have stabilized, but they've done so while demand is surprisingly soft. It's kind of fascinating, right? Usually when you have weak global demand, it just drags prices down across the board. But this week, we're actually seeing a leveling off, a true stabilization. It's a bit of a puzzle, and that's exactly what we're going to solve today as we look at the regional factors keeping these prices anchored. Section 1. Global Feedstock Update, the foundation of PC pricing. Okay, so to truly understand what's happening with the end product, we absolutely have to look at the macro picture, the raw material costs. Here is your magic number for this week, RMB 8,300 per metric ton. That is the current price for bisphenol A, which, as you know, is the primary feedstock for polycarbonate. Take a second to just let that number sink in. That RMB 8,300, that sets the absolute floor for global production costs right now. Every single regional price variation we talk about from here on out is sitting right on top of that baseline figure. Moving on to Section 2, Western Markets, USA and Europe Trends. Shifting our focus out west, the main story here is that demand honestly hasn't shown any real improvement, and the pricing reflects that perfectly. Over in the US market, despite that sluggish demand, extrusion grade is holding totally steady at 114 cents per pound, and injection molding, or IM grade, is sitting at 119 cents per pound. Now, if we look at the European market on the second row there, weak demand is still really weighing down the market sentiment. But even so, extrusion grade is stable at €2,099 per metric ton, and general purpose molding is holding at €2,198. And just a quick reminder, so we're comparing apples to apples here, those European prices are on a free-delivered Northwest Europe basis. So the big takeaway. Both of these massive Western markets are dealing with the exact same thing, weak demand running headfirst into an unyielding, stable price floor. Section 3. Eastern Markets, China and India Trends. Now that we've got the Western context down, let's pivot over to the incredibly dynamic Eastern markets, starting with China. It's actually a pretty ironic situation over there right now. Production facilities are just running at absolutely full capacity, which is flooding the market with supply. But demand is remaining super soft because of a pronounced seasonal slowdown. So you've got maximum output colliding with sluggish buyers, which is just creating this massive stockpile of available material right now in the Chinese market. Now, sliding slightly west over to the Indian market, we are seeing a very cautious trading environment. Take a look at these current spot prices. And just a quick note, these are in rupees per kilogram, and they exclude the goods and services tax. Down in Mumbai, prices are hovering right in that 210 to 211 rupee range. Up in Delhi, it's just a tiny bit higher, sitting really tightly between 213 and 214 rupees. That incredibly narrow price window, plus the fact that these prices haven't really budged from previous cycles, tells us everything we need to know about what traders are thinking. They're hesitating, nobody wants to make a sudden move, so it's just a very cautious space to be trading in right now. Which brings us to Section 4, Buying Pulse and Recommendations, Navigating the Market. All right, so we've seen the stable floors in the west and the oversupply out east. Let's pull all of that together. Adequate supply and limited buying interest have restricted any major spot price movement. Honestly, that perfectly sums up the global buying pulse at this very second. Polycarbonate trading is basically locked in a holding pattern worldwide because processors are just playing it incredibly safe. They're only buying for their immediate, absolute requirements. Because there's so much supply, especially with China running full tilt, and so little buying interest everywhere else, there's just zero momentum to drive any major price shifts. And honestly, that leads us to what is probably the most critical takeaway of this entire explainer. Based on all the data we've just covered, the official recommendation from Polymer Bazaar is this: buy only on a need basis and completely avoid any unnecessary inventory buildup. Why is this so crucial right now? Because if buyers collectively stick to just getting what they need while supply is this adequate, it completely flips the pressure back onto the sellers. Taking this cautious approach might actually push traders to start dropping their open market offers just to get material moving. By holding back, you're literally leveraging that soft demand right to your own advantage. Section 5. Polymer Bazaar Services. Your strategic advantage. Of course, knowing the strategy is one thing, but having the tools to actually pull it off is another. So here's a quick 3-step action plan to help you keep your edge. First, for instant updates, you can literally just WhatsApp the letters PC to +91 9374 624 365. They've got this AI chatbot that fires back weekly reports, future trends, and price predictions in like 5 seconds. It's awesome. Second, if you need immediate buying or selling leads across India at the best prices, get on the phone with a dedicated relationship manager at +91 93139 24365. And lastly, make sure you don't miss out on these deep dives. Subscribe to the Polymer Bazaar YouTube channel, drop a like on this explainer, and hit that bell icon so you're the first to know when the next update goes live. So I'm going to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on as you map out the rest of your week. Take a hard look at your own warehouses right now. Is your current inventory strategy leaving you overexposed in a soft market? In a stabilized market with weak demand like we're seeing, holding onto excess inventory isn't an asset, it is absolutely a liability. Rethink how you're purchasing, use the data to buy exactly what you need, and please, don't let a soft market catch you holding the bag. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this Polymer Bazaar Market Explainer. We'll see you next time for even more insights on commodity and engineering polymers. Have a fantastic day and trade smart.